Hi everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how to paint this fabulous steampunk inspired girl painting. I'm going to show you everything you need to know to create this. If you're brand new to art or you're brand new to painting, I'm going to explain every step. I've got a how to draw it in option. I've got a no draw tracing option. On the mic today is my husband John.
Hey guys.
And we're going to make art easy for you today. That's our whole goal, is just to make this whole art journey as easy as it possibly can be. You excited about doing that?
I am.
So the reason John is on the mic, because we get asked that question a lot, is there's a bunch of equipment back there you can't see. Somebody's got to read the chat.
I do.
Somebody's got to read the chat and answer questions, because this is initially broadcast out live.
Yes.
If you'd like the links for information on how to get the background in and how to draw it in are in the description below. And of course, in that little floating eye called the info card, if you click it, it takes you to other videos. And you can always check out this information also on our blog on TheArtSherpa.com.
Yes.
So you can get to everything, the traceables, everything through TheArtSherpa.com. Always there's a Steampunk Girl blog in it. That will all be there as well.
Yeah.
We like to be findable. We're not hiding from you.
No, not at all.
No.
And you can always go out to right there at the bottom of the screen, TheArtSherpa.com.
Yep.
Well, there she is. TheArtSherpa.com. And you can find out about our chat, and we have a calendar up that we keep updated. And
it's the full free lesson. We're not even messing with you here.
Yeah.
This is the whole kit and caboodle. Every level, every stage for every level beginning artist.
And March is going to be a fantastic month for our website, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We have some really, really cool stuff coming on the website this month. So
yeah.
you guys definitely
Which will be where, because this is up forever, that could be any month. Basically, just be on the website because we awesome.
Yeah.
So this beautiful girl, I have a Copper Patina background here, right? And I've done all this effect. We even have a metallic highlight. In this finishing painting, we're going to come back to our metal highlight, which is this iridescent gold, bright gold. You can do this in fine or regular particle, it doesn't matter. I really like this particular metallic gold paint above all others. That's just a personal preference I have because of the results I get with it. So I'm going to show you the background here. Here is, well, that's a terrible reveal. Here is the background as it is. We painted the background in, right? Where are you going to find that background? On the blog, in the info card, or in the description. Because you can use this for everything. This background is crazy. What do
you mean you can use it for everything? Like kitchen tables?
Yeah, like seriously, I've given you can copperize your world.
Really?
I got some steampunk friends and they'll send me stuff because they're like, I need this to look like copper. So I have a lot of different coppers and metals I can do, most of which I'm going to share with you. This particular one is the high green with a metallic overview, and you're going to love this. And I have so many tips and tricks on how to make this successful so you don't end up with polka dots and patterns.
Now you can find that in the iCard?
Info card, description.
Okay.
And of course on the website blog about it. All
nice.
Findable, and in the playlist of girls and goddesses, because we have a gazillion girls and goddesses that you can paint. Now, important thing about this. So I have my traceable overlaid here, right? Of course we did a video on how to draw it in as well. And while I was doing that, I was asked how to draw girls with different figures. So I also included a curvy, and where'd my plus size girl go? There she is, she's hiding. She's too fabulous just to come out.
There you go.
And there is a plus size girl. So that you can absolutely create your world. I've got a quest on hair colors, and I've got a quest on skin colors. My point here is, in this painting, make this painting reflect your world, what makes you happy, what makes you spectacularly feel wonderful in the universe. I am going to, this is an 11 by 14 canvas. It was pre-gessoed and we painted on it. I've got my tracing transfer paper here. Over here in materials though, I have burnt umber, iridescent gold, cad red light, naphthol red, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, cad yellow medium, but you can really do hue on this one.
Would you do me a huge favor there? I know that you're worried about everyone not being able to read them. You know.
Yeah.
But this is one of those magics of movie magic. Look, see, you can just rotate it because it's set up so that you can read it and they can read it when it's facing you.
Okay, do I have it the wrong way?
Yep.
Okay.
You were being too
Oh,
nice.
I just have it out here.
You were being too nice trying to, and you put them all upside down.
No, I think I just laid them out in a fan because that was convenient.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't being as thoughtful as John thinks. But thank you for assuming the best of me. And I have acrylic glazing liquid glass, which I do like to use, especially as my studio is dry, and this slows down the drying time of my paint.
Okay.
I've got jars of water because acrylic paint can be thinned with water. And I'm going to start out with the colors that I'm first laying in, but we had to get going. I'm going to be putting these in with acrylic brushes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to start by tracing this in. I've also got two very special wishes. This particular canvas is dedicated to Jaxon, his aunt, and his mom. They're going through a lot. And if we can just send a ton of healing energy out there to them, that would be fantastic. Jaxon is 2.
Yeah.
And he could just use a lot of healing. And then we also heard last minute from Deanna, who just went through a major brain injury. So we're going to send her some healing energy too. I'm going to trace this in.
All right.
First, though, I'm going to use something with a hard tip because that helps me really transfer this on. And what I've done is I've rubbed white pastel chalk from the General's pencils on the back of this to make a rubbing.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can just trace over these lines and it will transfer it on the canvas for me.
Now, there's a lot of questions coming in about iridescent paint. And
I'm happy to answer it.
Oh, good. So can we do that now, or you want to wait?
Yeah, I'm just tracing in. Well, I'm tracing in. We all know how to trace in. We're drawing over the lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the image is going to be transferred here. Tape your image down so it doesn't move on you.
Okay. So
and then they can do the drawing video if they want to freehand it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so here's some questions, a bunch coming at you. If you don't have metallic paint, can you use iridescent medium?
It will not give you the same effect. You could use a gold foil.
Mm-hmm. Gold foil, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you can use a gold foil. That's a slightly more advanced technique, believe it or not, because foil is a little difficult to work with.
And it also...
But it's also stunning.
Did you do a video with the silver foil?
I did do some silver foil stuff. I think it's on Instructables, or yeah.
But what I will say is the foiling leaves foil bits everywhere.
It's like you murdered a fairy in your house. It really is.
So another question here: can you use gesso in place of liquid medium?
No, gesso is a dispersant ground. Believe it or not, it is a mixture of chalk and acrylic polymers and things that prepare the surface for painting. And it does not work the same way, but it is a very cool product.
Well, we should give an art high five to Phoenix Rising. She's done 36 paintings.
36? Dude, that's a lot.
Yeah. So that's congratulations on that.
So I think I have her all in, and you can kind of see how it transferred that image for me. Right? That's how it transferred that image for me. And then I can always take my white chalk pencils, right? If there's an area where I had a boo-boo or I didn't like how it transferred, and I can make adjustments as I see fit into that space, because I got a little bobbly there and I didn't really like the line on that arm and the tracing. I'll come back.
So you're just going over that little.
Yeah, and refining it a little bit, making sure, because this is my pattern. This is what I'm drawing in. Now,
Angela asks, what about copper iridescent paint?
Yes, copper or bronze. So, like, say you got some copper or bronze metallic paint, that would also look good with this.
Yeah.
I like the gold on this, but you might really enjoy the bronze, or you might really enjoy the copper. And it's also pretty spectacular without it. This just gives it that finishing feel. So I'm just making sure that my chignon is well done in, and my lips on my top hat got a little wonky here. So I'm just making those adjustments now at this stage. And I'm going to write that wish in for Jaxon's healing.
Now, those are called fascinators, right?
Yes, they are. They're called fascinators, and they are my favorite thing to shop for on Etsy.
Now, we've been Sherpa here just about since we started here, so
have we?
I just wanted to let you know, because we're here at a little breaking place, that we should give everybody a little dance when you're done putting those wishes in, and just tell everybody thank you for coming, because we love
Thank you for coming, and I hope I see you guys. And you can also, if you really like the Eureka Steampunk background, with the bokeh, it would look good behind this girl too. So feel like you can kind of make it mix and match with these painting series here on the Art Sherpa. Just be like, oh, I really like that background, but I like this figure. Feel like you can change it up. I'm not going to get mad at you. I'm going to be proud of you no matter what you do.
So, and don't forget, guys, celebrate being alive. I know we don't have our bubbles on here today because we're doing some adjustments in the studio. But
my snowflakes got taken from me.
Well, they're just being moved.
They got moved.
They're being moved. And, we're so lucky to have each other here. We're lucky to be here on this place where we can come together and paint and celebrate just being together and painting. And we do that live. So there's just something kind of magical about being able to share the same space with you guys. So if you can't get up and dance, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and don't forget to remind your body that you're alive. And we love you guys. So I'll let the Sherpa guide you on this magical paint journey.
Don't dance with me. I don't teach dancing.
I
do it, but I don't teach it. I sing, but I don't teach it. But don't let, somebody take your right to sing away. That's crazy. Yeah. I'm going to leave the gold out till last.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I'm going to put out the colors I'm going to use. I had a lot of thought. There's a lot of styles of steampunk about how I wanted to do her bodice, her dress, just everything. I definitely think it's a good idea on this skirt to have a warm red and a cool red. See that? That's because I don't close my caps right. Just saying. It is not a manufacturer defect. It is a Sherpa defect. So there's my warm red, which is the Cad Red Light, which if you've ever worked with it is almost orange.
I'm going to come stunt.
And there's my Naphthol. What's wrong?
Here, see this necklace?
I'll just take it off. Oh, thank you. Is that the whole thing?
I'm going to make a sound adjustment.
Put out a little yellow ochre.
Cinnamon's mic was making a little bang.
Oh, the whole time or just a little?
Just on that necklace every once in a while, and you'd look down and it would hit it. So I wanted to make sure we didn't get any more of that little clanky.
So we're going to be showing off some of our new brushes today.
Oh, yeah. Well, tell us about
new
that.
Brushes.
Tell us about the brushes.
I'm trying to decide, do I want a Bristlon or Black Pearl today? It's so hard to decide. So many good brushes.
Bristlon or... You know what? It's steampunky. I think copper... You could go Bristlon. You could go. Which one?
I'm gonna put a little Cad yellow out. I'm gonna need a little black. I don't need that much Cad. I probably put out 10 times as much Cad as I need. It's only a smidge of it that I need.
But it's so nice.
But then I always get I want you to see the paint, so I put out too much.
And it looks so pretty.
Yeah, and it looks pretty. You can be much more miserly with your paint.
Yes, don't
feel like my plop paint sizes are your plop paint sizes. I'm gonna put out a little black. This tube is seen some hard miles there. And a little glazing liquid. Again, my conditions in my studio are quite dry and can be really warm.
No.
And so that makes it where I guess I'm gonna bristle on today because I'm reaching over here already.
What does the
pearl? Maybe pearl. I don't know. Black pearl. Because it sounds like a pirate ship.
Oh, well,
it sounds like a pirate ship, so let's black pearl today.
Okay, I'm up for that.
Some fun stuff for me. I am going to start out with a brush that's going to give me some control in the tighter spaces on my painting. So that's probably going to be a 2 or a 4. Here, I'll start out with a, no, definitely 2 for around her. I'm going to start into her shirt. I'm going to get my brush wet.
So what brush are you starting with there? Can you show me?
I have a number 2 silver black pearl. So this is just a nice, small, little bright. Has a synthetic filament in it. I'm going to take a little of my black smidge on the edge here and sort of gray out my yellow ochre. Because I want to do her blouse in an off-white. And whenever I'm painting something that's white, I want to do that first layer darker than my white highlight so that the white really pops. And I forgot to puff my sleeve, so I'm going to paint in my puffed sleeve right here. Puffed it.
Gotcha.
All right, you got to do that. Puff my sleeve. See how it's just kind of a grayed cream? That's gonna help me make it feel like a vintage.
Now I forgot to ask. Did we want to have a picture-in-picture on this one?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can do that.
Always. Wow, there you go. We always have picture-in-picture because that helps
Always.
you really. But
Let
we
me see.
generally do.
That, I think, that's the right one?
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
Now, when I get to them, I have some tips on the different body types as you're painting them. If you're painting curvy or, voluptuous, I'm going to give you some tips on how to do the corset and things to keep in mind when you're doing it. We talked about it a little bit when we drew this live last night. Because we were drawing this live last night. And I was talking to you guys about how you might draw this in. And we'll try to do that more and more. Especially with the very special big art quest that's coming up on the 16th. So see, this is just real easy to paint in. And if you are a new student, if you're a new painter, right? Notice how I'm always working from the outside of the paint plops. I'm not going in the centers here. That gives me a lot of control and prevents a lot of frustration. Also, one area that you must consider upgrading is your white. The reason being is that the student whites, the highlights will fade into the paint often. And so you go through all this trouble making these great highlights and having lowlights and highlights, and then all of a sudden, it's gone. Super frustrating.
Yeah.
We're going to do just a little skin tone mixture. If I can keep track of my brush. It just went flying out of my hands. I'm just tipping the bristles in water. I don't want this to be wet. One of the reasons synthetic filaments are so good for acrylic painting is they don't overpull water in.
Gotcha.
They can be firmer to move heavy body paint, and they don't over absorb water. That's why we would bother. Why do we bother? That's one of the reasons.
Now you have all three of these traceables up for everyone.
All
right?
three of these traceables are up and ready to go.
And you can
right
find,
now.
And you can find those on our website there.
And you can find the link to those on our website. So how it works on our website is that the link to where the traceables are is on the website. Because sometimes we're in different places with different things. And the links to where you go to get them are all organized on the website. I'm going to make a little skin tone.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing on skin tone. If, you're fair skin tone, this is a really helpful thing here where I come and get a little yellow ochre, and then I come and get a little of my crimson, and I'm making this kind of peach. I could add even a little burnt sienna to that, right? Wiping off as much of the excess paint as I can, and then coming and getting just the white. But say this wasn't your skin tone, guess what? Good news, we made a big art quest on how to do different skin tones on girls like this.
Yeah.
So that you can paint whatever you want to paint. Because we have a global community.
Yeah.
And we are diverse. And that is awesome.
That was one of the reasons why you really liked partnering with Silver was because they were global.
Yeah.
And that was
what I was excited about.
Yeah, a lot of the times in the past when we've been looking at different partners, one of the important things was being able to get these to you guys anywhere in the world, and that eliminated a lot of people because it's difficult to provide worldwide distribution support, and Silver was able to do that, and that was one of the big reasons why we wanted to partner with them, is the very, very strong worldwide capabilities.
Yeah. But what makes a good acrylic brush is still true.
Oh yeah.
Wherever you live. All right, so I'm going to put this right down the center. Right down the center of the back, because this is where I'm going to put the lacing. Okay, and I'm going to have a fairly narrow opening. If you're doing the plus size girl, you may want it a smidge size wider. Don't get crazy, don't make it really wide, but just a smidge size wider. If you've ever seen corseting, sometimes these are little details that give our characters personality. So just a smidge size opening where this chemise, this shirt, is tucked in. Right? So I'm just enjoying that. Now her glove and her corset are leather. And I want to start with a dark tone. Now, of course, when you're steampunking this out, you can tool highlights into your leather. You could highlight it with a little gold. You can do whatever you want to create your own flair and personalization. But the first thing when you're trying to create that leather effect will be to create a dark tone first. So I'm going to take a little of my black over to my burnt umber. If you don't have burnt umber, just take some black over to your burnt sienna. If you don't have burnt umber. But if you don't have burnt umber, think about it. It's a lovely color.
So what is an umber?
I don't know. What is an umber?
Well, I know there's umber hulks in D&D.
Yeah, right?
Maybe.
I think umber is a type of wood. I think this pigment comes from a type of wood.
Yeah.
To be really, really honest. But then, you know, mummy brown actually used to come from mummies.
Yeah. Now, I think ochre,
that's why it's only hue now.
Ochre is
if you're wondering even why in pro paints is mummy brown hue, that's because you're not allowed to use dead people in the making of paints anymore. So it has to be hue. Now, just like Indian yellow is minus the buffalo pea.
And
little things you learn.
Ochre is dirt, right?
Ochre and sienna are dirt.
I like those colors.
So umber, ochre, and sienna are the oldest colors. Umber may actually be from the earth. This may actually be clay pigment. These are the oldest colors known to man. Huh?
Cad said it's stone.
Okay, so that makes sense. It's a stone. So these are the first colors that mankind really interacted with. And then, of course, ebony. All right, like charcoal, things like that.
The earth pigment. No,
the earth pigments.
Umber is a natural brown or reddish brown earth pigment that contains iron oxide and manganese oxide.
There you go. And it's not, all umbers are not created equal, by the way. They're sourced from different parts of the world, and these paint companies have to deal with like all kinds of sourcing issues. So when you're buying paints, these are the paints sometimes that have the least consistency, even though they're the most common pigment. Just in my experience over years of purchasing paint, I've noticed the paints that have the least consistency tend to be the umbers, the siennas, and the ochres.
Yeah. Now, umber can often be confused with amber.
And they're not the same.
They are not the same. Amber is the petrified tree sap. It's a golden color. And umber is a dark brown, earthy tone.
Exactly. Let's make sure her glove is tooled from the same leather, right?
Yeah.
As her as her corset. So that's really fun to get in. I'm going to rinse it out. Now I'm going to do a really neat thing. One of my favorite colors is either cad orange and burnt umber or cad red light and burnt umber. They both do kind of a cool thing. And this is going to be the basis for my red hair. So I'm taking a little of my cad red over. I'm going to get a little glazing medium so it doesn't dry out on me. And I'm going to paint in the form of my chignon. And that's going to be the basis for her red hair. But of course, I have 6 colors of hair. I taught you all to paint. So you can absolutely do anything you want here. I'm just showing this chignon with the red head. So this is going to be about painting highlights and lowlights and textures to create the effect of like an updo here. But first I paint in her head this fun brown. This Archie comic brown, reddish brown. And we're going to take it up to a bright, bright red when we do it, but we're going to just right now get that first layer of paint in.
Now, if you wanted to do a different hairstyle or skin color, you got a couple videos on that, don't you?
Yeah, did I just say that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was reading comments, so sorry if I was...
Yes, exactly. We have 6 how to do hair. We have 6 different types of hair I demo, and we have skin tones.
Look at us. What a team.
And
we
those
got
are
covered.
little quick quests.
See, look at us. What a team. We're not going to let them forget it at all.
No, you can't. Don't you forget it. I'm going to mist my paint because I think it's drying out on me.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to put out a little phthalo blue. It's in the description, and I'm tempted to put it out, but I'm going to put it out later.
I like
when
it.
I'm doing the glass and the laces.
You pull your mic boom up there just a touch. I think it's going down into your necklace. There you
Okay.
go. Very perfect.
All right. Actually, I'll put it out now. Then we know it's there, right?
We like it. I like that color so much.
I love phthalo. If you didn't have phthalo, you could use Windsor blue.
It matches your hat.
Just so you know, you didn't have phthalo, you could use Windsor blue. And if you really, really didn't have phthalo or Windsor blue, you could use Prussian blue.
Prussian blue.
Prussian blue is a very good blue. I'm going to start putting in my hot, Mr. Cooney.
Okay.
Is going to be a little of this blue over to my black. I like to blue my black
Mm-hmm.
to give it this cool tint. And I'm going to add just a smidge. Not a lot of white to it because I don't want it to be pure black. I don't want it to be pure black. And I'm going to paint in my hot with this really cool steel gray color. And the blue definitely adds a little personality to it, like you want. And I like that the charcoal kind of picks up into the paint here, and it gives me that extra sort of depth there that I might like. While my brush is still got pigment on, I'm going to pick up a little more white paint, come to the front of my hat, down to where the brim and the body of the hat met, and I'm just going to pull back a little highlight, see? And then up around the little ellipse on the top. See, there's a little ellipse?
Mm.
Look at that little ellipse. Just I want to imply that that's still there. And I'm going to come on the leading edge of the hat too. Just making a little bit of highlight. And see how this starts to create the shape of my hat? My hat starts to have a little shapery. Hats need a shapery. That's a very technical term, don't you forget it. So a little shapery on this fascinator that's up here, right?
Yeah.
Now I get the fun, the joy. I'm going to get a bigger brush out. I'm going to rinse this brush out, wipe it off, let it rest over here. And I'm going to get, I think I can get away with this fabulous, beautiful number 8 bright. This has this synthetic filament. It's a bright. It has a sharp edge and a firm flick. And this lets me really work my acrylic paint with ease. If your brush is too soft, what happens in your paint is that it won't push the paint easily, and you're going to be exerting a lot of effort and not getting a lot of result, and you'll find yourself getting frustrated, and what's happening is your brush just isn't designed for your media. But this would suck at doing watercolor. I wouldn't want to do this with watercolor because it wouldn't pull in enough water. Really, sometimes tools are important in art. Now I'm going to take maybe a smidge of my blue, smidge, over to my naphthol. And it's going to kind of purple and cool it out even more. I might add a little of my glazing medium, mostly because it's hot in the studio.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just, in the direction of this kind of flow out of the skirt, the flounce of the skirt, I'm going to paint my first deep burgundy. This reminds me of wine red color, and that's going to be the undertone of the skirt. That's going to be the undertone of the skirt.
So there's an interesting question.
Huh?
How many chromatic grays are there?
So what I wouldn't say infinite, but there's a ton. There are chromatic grays that people tend to use, and we have a big art quest on types of black, and that includes chromatic ones.
Nice.
And so it kind of gives you a sense like a chromatic gray that I might really like would be burnt sienna and phthalo blue.
Right. Is that the one you use for atmospheric backgrounds?
I just tend to like to create my grays. I get grays and greens out of. I get like 20 colors out of those two colors.
Yeah.
I really like those two colors together. That's actually a lot of the background. Are phthalo blue and burnt umber and phthalo blue and burnt sienna. So you can get a lot. Anytime you're working complements, like if you think about it, complementary colors, right? I could get a chromatic gray, not black, but I could get a chromatic gray from this phthalo blue and that cad red.
Yes.
And they will be richer in depth than just mixing black and white sometimes.
Oh.
Not all the time. But enough so it's worth to know how to do. That's kind of what doing the color charts is for, and understanding that color wheel. So see, I'm just painting that in with this burgundy. And you can see I'm not having any trouble. When I pull away on this heavy bodied paint, the brush is pulling it. So it's real easy to get on the edges. And when I'm coming here, it's easy to mix in, like a palette knife. It's not going up my bristles into the ferrule.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't want if I can avoid it. I'm just enjoying painting this in, and she is almost like laid in but for her cup. I always like that first layer of paint when I'm laying in the piece. And again, I'm using as much glazing medium as I am simply because the studio conditions
It's a little warm in here.
is very warm and dry. Dry being even more key in acrylic paint than warm. If you're warm but humid, the paint will actually stay active. Open is what they say in acrylic painting. They say it's open. It's open-minded as long as it's dry. I mean, wet. As soon as it's dry, it's very closed-minded, and you can't do a thing about it except paint over it.
Yeah, it's your relative humidity that's important.
Yeah.
Because if there's not a lot of moisture in the air relative to the temperature, then it'll suck it right out of the paint. So, and that paint will dry quickly.
Exactly. Now I'm going to do some detail brushes here. In painting in my glass, I like really fine details so that I'm really not having to struggle with these fine lines. You could do a fine paint pen here if you wanted to, whatever it takes. If you have trouble seeing, go ahead and put magnifying glasses on. Sometimes I need to do that, so don't ever feel weird about that. And I'm going to start with just a little of this black and blue mixture that I had. Make sure that I've got enough of water or medium to make it fluid. And it's loaded on my brush. Always check little brushes for a drop of errant water. These little suckers always have a drop of water loaded like a time bomb waiting to get you. So I'm just sort of outlining the part that's the glass, right? In this little gray blue. And you can even pull one little reflection down here. I still want a lot of the background to be coming through. I'm going to come over and get a little of this burgundy color. I'm not even worried that the black and blue or anything is on here because this is the first deep color. And I'm going to paint in the wine. Right? Paint in that wine. And I have my wine splashing up, and you'll see that in the traceable. Like something has startled her and it's coming on up out of the cup. See right there?
Yeah.
She's been startled and it's coming on up out of the cup. Now I'll come back with white and other highlights later, but this is the first layer in of that I'm going to need. I'm going to get you can see that I've rinsed my detail out. Details more than any other brush, it's important you keep clean. All brushes, it's important you keep clean. But boy, the details, they punish you if you don't. They stop working.
Yeah.
They stop being detacular. I'm going to sippy. How you guys doing?
Oh my gosh. We've had such a full house out here today.
Thank you.
It was really nice to come hang out with all of our tribe and our family and just have a chance to paint and hang out with you guys.
It's nice to take a little break from the madness the world kind of likes to push out there, isn't it? And just be like, I understand this is all going on, but for the next hour, I'm going to take a break from whatever is happening in my life and just relax and be creative. I think that's what kids have on us.
Yeah.
Is they know coloring is important. And if it gets really crazy, they're like, I just got to color.
Yeah.
Mom, I just got to sit down and color. And they're not like, oh, I don't have enough talent to feel better. They're like, no, just give me those crayons. Just give them to me. I think we should be more like them.
Yeah. And if you want to find out more about this or anything else that you see us doing here, you can go to TheArtSherpa.com for more information. And don't forget, to do all the social things in all the social places.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Comment,
we're on
comment,
Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
Subscribe.
Plus we go live other places. If you don't stalk us, you'll never know.
You'll just never know. And it's always on. We try to keep all that on the calendar on our website, so that there's at least one place you can go to find out where we're doing.
So I'm adding some highlights right? I'm coming to the top of this little blouse here, and I'm going to stroke up in the poof of the sleeve and maybe add just a couple little bits. But I want to leave a little of the dark area underneath, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm going to come along the back here, the top of this. I'm going to pull this down in kind of a dry brush. I'm letting some of what's underneath still show through. See how it keeps it, that it becomes an aged chemise. And that's a little different than modern shirts, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how we're going to get that aged chemise. We don't want the bright, stark, modern white. That's going to look really out of place here.
Right.
We only want to use it if we're trying to create an effect of something being an anachronism. Or maybe like in a fur, you might have seen it in a fur.
Yep.
Possibly even in a leather. But in this particular case, we want that. It's white, but it's not white like you and I see things that are white. And we're going to go through. I'm just aging that back there. I'm going to come into the neck. Just on the edge of my brush, I'm loading this little paint. And I'm going to make sure I just dab along the top edge of the ruffle.
I remember all of the, costumers and living history people would dye their linens in tea to make them look off-white because we can do such a good job bleaching them now.
Yeah, too good.
Too good.
Too good. Stuff be too clean. You want it to be white, but not so white that she's like, hey, you're LARPing. It's the goal. Sorry. So I'm going to come on the outside edge of the arm here. And I'm going to pull a stroke back kind of in a curve. And I'm leaving just a little bit of the off-white there. And see how that creates the shape of the arm?
Oh, yeah.
Without me doing a whole lot of work. Which is always my favorite thing in a painting. I'm going to come down the forearm to where we had the little crease where you saw the foreshortening of this arm. And I'm going to pull this back. Same thing. Creating that rounded effect. All right, and then I'm going to come right here and pull a little bit down. But it's all dry brush. And you can see how it being dry allows this to be a slightly darker tone than what's next to it. If you lose anything, just load your brush with a little of the black and blue gray. Very lightly. See how that's not really glopped on there? And go ahead and take this color and darken or shadow the creases at the shirt. See? This is going to be an important skill later. We talked about doing ruffles and things. Knowing how to create the shading of fabric. This isn't a lot. It's just a little. I'm going to get a little flow here so I can... And you can even come right under the sleeve and add a few, this is a nice touch, a few little shadows in the creases of her blouse.
Now, Mo Cuts was asking, could you use unbleached titanium for this?
Yes.
Cool.
You could use unbleached, yes, if you have unbleached titanium, you can totally be like, I love you, Sherpa, but I'm just going to do unbleached titanium. I'm adding a little shadow here under the corset and a little bit on top where this is pressing in. So that's what I'm going to work there. I'm going to rinse this out and I'm going to add a little leather effect. Anybody remember warm leatherette? Just saying. You know what I need? I need a coffee microwave. Can I do that? I forgot to use Alan's warmer.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
I have a cup warmer and I forgot to use it. It's that kind of a day. Some days I come and I need the painting as much as everybody who's watching. There are times like we got so much crazy good stuff going on that just to ground. Do you ever guys just have so much stuff just spinning past you in this like crazy maelstrom that you just need a little time to just like, I just got to color the Zentangle so everybody else in my house can live, right? Sometimes they're just like that. And so that and coffee, for me it's like a little bit of coffee and a little bit of canvas time and painting a little bit of my favorite part of the world. That's what I love.
We'll do this.
Okay. What are we doing?
You can keep going back.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to start working, the corset. So I'm going to grab a little of the burnt sienna, right? And this is really all it's going to take. I haven't added water to my brush, so it'll be a pretty dry brush. And I'm going to use a very rough, dry brush stroke here and light pressure so that lots of the brown is showing underneath. And see how easy it is to create this aged leather effect right here. And we'll even do some stuff where we really look at these different effects and patinas that you can paint in things when you're trying to say, all right, this is aged leather. So things I'm thinking about are, you know, highlights and shadows, and then I'm also thinking about textures and how things look. But you can see it just doesn't take a lot to pop a little aged leather up on that corset, does it? It's crazy. Now I can take a little of my cad red, shockingly enough, over to my burnt sienna, and then just super lightly, not around every place, add even another kind of rough highlight. See that there? This is what makes steampunk, besides the ornate element of the designs, sometimes challenging as an art style for people, is the patina and layering, the creating the aging, is what kind of holds them back from that. Now I'm going to go and do the same to the glove. My glove, my glove. You saw I wiped my brush dry so it wasn't carrying a load of water. And I'm going to give this lovely leather glove.
I'm going to see if I can make a
nice shape around there. Okay. Just so nice, isn't it? Just so, so nice. And there you go. Then it starts to look like leather.
Try not to wash out
Right, right.
Just a second here, guys. I'm going to get this other one just
I am doing a little cad red into my burnt sienna right now while John's adjusting. So making that same highlight. In here at the ball of the hand by the thumb, I'm going to add a little highlight. Just a little bit coming around the hand. Just a little more patina.
That camera's just giving me a little trouble.
And then just making sure that my thumb really is showing up that's holding the glass. Now you can really sort of see your hand. I will come back with some white lining, maybe, perhaps, to really even define that even more, to make sure we're really seeing it. But that way, the effects that I'm looking for are really, really done there and look really good. This is still drying.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a little of my brush is dirty, but I'm going to go grab a little of my naphtha, which you can see skinning.
Yep.
And I'm going to make a little headband right here. It's going to be, you know, a little headband. Just a little headband. It's going to be red. All right. I'm going to also take a little of the naphtha. I'm going to come in at the neck on the edge of the brush and do a little line across. All we have to do is a little line across this little red ribbon. And of course, at the arm. And if my brush is too dry, either get water or glazing medium to improve the fluidity of the paint. Come across here. Because that's what you'd have, wouldn't you? Decoratively. Okay. Did you make new coffee or something?
Oh, no, I took a sip of that, and it was just like...
Whatever I have is horrible?
It was blueberry something.
It's Blueberry Mountain. It's not horrible. It's yummy.
Scrape my tongue.
See, the trick to surviving in a large family is to find things you like to eat and drink that the rest of your family members don't like. And then you're okay. So I have these nice little highlights here. I'm going to rinse my brush out, but I'm going to start working my hair.
Your hair?
My hair. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my detail brush, recognizing that a drop is somewhere primed to mess with my painting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to mix my black and my brown. And I'm going to redefine with this dark color the swirl that is the chignon. Right, my chignon swirl.
Mm-hmm.
And then the shadow where the hair is tucked. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Now, that mug you were using, there are several people who were asking where you got that.
That wonderful mug?
That wonderful mug.
You mean the wonderful mug with the girl in the red dress?
Oh, yes. Where did you get that?
It's facing me, but I got this at, well, I got it where you guys get it, TheArtSherpa.com. You guys want a mug, bunch of these paintings, we stick them on mugs.
Yeah. So all of our
shirts, totes, weird stuff.
So
You can Sherpa up if you feel like. There's a hoodie.
Yeah, if you go to shop.theartsherpa.com, you can find all of our hoodies and mugs and and pillows and stuff, and the art game, which is also there.
That's
on
where
the
the art
table.
game is. If
That's
you're
right.
like, where's that art game? That is where it is. I have rinsed out my brush and put it to the side. I'm going to take a little of this CAD. Okay, we have to fix that. Into the CAD red light, into the burnt. And I'm going to very carefully, on the edge of my brush, start painting the highlight of her red hair coming back. So it's tucked up into this corner. You okay, baby? Yeah, sorry about that. Try to not breathe your coffee.
Yeah, you have to drink coffee. Don't inhale it.
Don't inhale it.
So, yeah. Everyone's saying, drink your coffee, John. Don't inhale it.
So I have created that. See that little highlight and how it's creating that shadow there?
Yep.
Right? So we're kind of already starting to say that there's some type of light source, and we know that it's here somewhere because look where we put the highlights. That tells us a lot, right? Where is the light source? It's kind of above and to the right. Little things that we're talking to our viewer, even though we might not be with them when they look at our art.
Yeah.
You know, they might be looking at it alone. So I'm going to keep wrapping the light, so the light's wrapping around, you know. Got the nice dark shadow there. I'm going to make sure we get some of these highlights in the swirl. Fun stuff. Now, I'm going to come and get, just a little more. I might even bring some of my yellow ochre over here. So I haven't rinsed my brush. I'm getting a little yellow ochre. And we've talked about this kind of stuff when we were painting the red hair. So many layers. And I'm continuing to show how this shape is rounded up and coming out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's get some more of that slightly highlighted. And also, just making sure that her hair feels round. Maybe a little bit there. Keeping that up. So if I've got to, I'm going to come right into my CAD yellow.
Ah.
And it'll feel like it's a brown. It won't feel like it's a beautiful red hair. It won't feel like it's a strawberry blonde until you bring it over here and then start bringing it across the hair. And then you're like, what? How'd that work? But it does. There we go. Just talking about the shape. Then I can come back. My brush is slightly dirty, but I'm going to pull just my CAD red light. And I'm going to come here and add some of this right into the hair. I'm just making some Lucille Ball red hair here. Look at that. Then there's this feeling that her hair is quite red, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm going to work this center swirl, and that is really going to be my small brush. I probably could have dropped a bit of yellow there, but I'm going to come in, get some of these different colors. So I've got some of this here, and I'm going to make sure that it's got a high red. I really don't need too many highlights to finish this out, but I want to make sure that I'm defining the... Come right here and get right into your yellow. And just make sure that this swirl has a little highlight, see? And then all of a sudden, boom. Then boom. Doesn't take a lot, but the little you have to do, you really have to do. I'm going to work the hat band a little bit. I'm going to come get the wonderful combo of the Naphthol red versus the CAD red here really does a lot, and it pulls against the background in a very special way. Right? I'm going to also come and take this right over the top of my armbands. How do you like them?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, just adds a little bit. I can come and get a little combo of the cad red and the naphthol while I'm at it. Mix them together. And go into my burgundy. And at the points in the alcohol where it would be lightest, where light would be shining through it, add a little highlight to make it seem like it is. Look at that. Now the wine is really popping.
A lot of people think this reminds them of Westworld.
This should remind you of Westworld. Who was crazy into Westworld?
Yes. We were both.
I liked the first movie, but boy, they got me now.
Yeah.
They got me now. I mean, like, I was like the whole thing John was just so tired of. I was like, everyone's a Cylon. Because I'm, if you were all new to sci-fi, a lot of what happened in Westworld would be a surprise.
Yes.
But if you're not new to sci-fi, you recognize every time they're going to pull Bradbury or anybody right back out of the can and dust them off and give them to you again. And then you're like, everyone's a Cylon.
It's true.
And they were. It was totally like everybody except that one guy. And he probably will come back as a Cylon later.
They're like, what are you talking about, Cylons? They don't understand your...
I want to be a Cylon. Did you see where they live? They live in the good part of Canada. Apparently Canada is Caprica.
Okay, so you have to be so deep in the dork forest to be tracking what we're even saying here.
This is true. Welcome to this art channel where we teach you how to paint, but then also make obscure dork references.
Yeah.
No, I really like science fiction, and we watch a lot of it. And if you watch Battlestar Galactica, you know that Balthazar's house was full on in Canada, which is also apparently for that series called Caprica.
Yes.
Also, we've been dealing with the fact that the Winchesters are pretending to run around in the United States when they're very clearly in Canada.
You can tell by the same two mountains that they have in the background all the time.
All the time. I don't care.
And I do believe that the passage between those two is called Lion's Gate, which is where Lionsgate film came from. But occasionally you'll have to have them pretend like they're like those are some other mountain ranges that they clearly are not all the time.
So we used to live in Caprica.
Yeah.
But we got demoted because we were not Cylons. But we might
come
be
back.
wizards. We're definitely not muggles.
Yes.
No muggles, right?
No.
No. Okay, so we've confused everybody enough. We're going to go back to explain
We'll go back to painting. We should go back to painting.
Got my nice coffee. I put out some more naphthol red.
Now, is there a substitute for naphthol? Crimson?
Crimson. Any crimson. What you want is a red that is very cool like blood. If the red looks to you like blood, right?
Yeah.
Then that's a good red. And if the red looks to you like a warmer orange or a sun, you want warm and cool reds to play here. I just tell you exactly what I'm using so you can get those exact results. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to come here, and because this is, look at this red against this.
Oh, yeah.
This is a lot the formula of how you paint blood and things, too. Just saying, we've covered that as well. And I'm going to just brush this down, following the skirt again. But what am I'm allowing some of the dark to show through, which makes it feel like this just rich brocade or satin, doesn't it? Under her dress. And we love it. And we love it. Ha 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 ha. We're nearly done. Isn't that sad?
That looks awesome.
We're nearly done. Just pulling it down.
Well, we'll be doing more stuff, though. We're going to be, we've got so much more stuff coming up
One
this
you
week.
guys are going to love seeing how this background is painted in. You're going to want to stick every girl I've ever taught you how to paint on this background. And I'll go through and show some other metal types, too, here real soon. And maybe some woods and things.
Yeah.
It's a nice skill set to have. Maybe I'm going to take this red a little bit up between my corset because I like to. That's a me thing. You don't have to do that. So fun for me.
That looks so nice.
So fun for me.
That red really, really makes it pop.
I think so. I think so. And I'm going to take my black paint here, which is hopefully fluid enough to still work with.
Whoop.
And, actually I'm going to put out some fluid paint because that looks like fairly skinned.
You're going to get some fresh fluid paint.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I'm going to get this little guy right here. See this little guy right here?
Uh-huh.
Right here. And I'm going to come to the back of my hat a little bit. Maybe add a little line.
You're just adding a little contrast line there?
Yeah, I feel like it needs it. a little bit. I can't help it. Sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, ugh. Right? I'm going to make a dot. Anytime I make a dot, I got to make it right across from the other one. So go dot, dot. You could also use a dotting tool.
A dotting tool?
Like we use, but I'm just showing you how to use a brush this time, because then you guys are like, I don't have a dotting tool. Be a good manufacturer of garmentry. Try to place your rivets at even spaces.
Don't confuse them by placing them half off of each other.
Don't do that. Also, it'll be harder to lace up later.
It would be
Much
challenging.
Much harder to lace up later. All right, just come here and just underneath this arm, maybe a little bit of a black line.
Ooh.
Just a little bit. You can also add a little bit of a black line right here. Underneath the glove. Come on the back side of the glove. These little touches can help.
Oh, I totally see.
You know, where you put it. So. You know, while I'm at it. Gonna get right into my white paint. Maybe I'll grade off a little bit with this blue and black I have over here. So light. I want it light. Not bright white, but light. Make sure I get the front of the hat. A little bit. To define that shape.
Yeah.
Like you do. At this point, the dress should be dry enough to take the cadmium. Take the
cadmium?
Take it!
What are you going to do with that cadmium?
I am going to come here and I'm going to do exactly what I did with the naphthol. Well, almost exactly.
We come down here.
Where I'm coming like this. So that it creates this feeling of sort of ripples in the fabric. See how it does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Spicy says she'd like to see some gentleman subjects too.
Well, we did the one guy with the guitar.
Oh, but steampunky.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We need some monocle and top
hat action.
Some evening gentlemen's walking canes.
Dude, you guys came so close to getting a steampunk belle and beast.
We got to get our spats out. Show you how it's done.
Yeah.
I got
John's got some good stuff. All right, so once we have that in, look at that. That really lets the dress be... Pow the red, guys. Pow it.
Pows that red.
And that's the last of the big brush that I really need to do. Everything else I can work in the little brush.
So you just got some little detailing in there left to do.
I'm going to come and get my little white now because I'm working my glass. It's okay to tone your white with a little bit of blue. Never be afraid to take white away from off-white. I'm going to back side of the glass and create a highlight.
What do you mean
front
that?
side.
Never be afraid to take white to off-white?
Yeah, because what happens is things are very rarely truly white in the world. I'm going to pull a little reflection down here, curve it. So you know now it's a glass?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's a glass. And so we creates this feeling of things not really belonging. Front of the glove, on the inside of the hand, along the front of the thumb.
Now, I think
helps a little bit, right?
Yeah, Defilia was saying that she always has trouble knowing what brushes to pick at the brush guide. Your stuff out there.
I updated my teacher page, so that's easier.
Okay,
just
good.
Put the brushes I'm using there.
Mm-hmm.
In the description below is the complete list of brushes that I'm using, and the packs are coming out after NAMTA.
Right.
This will not be relative to everyone else later.
You can find those guys, the up to % off your entire purchase of all those awesome brushes that you find there. So...
I'm just adding a little white highlight right here just to pop this, and maybe a little bit of sure that the little waistline is nice. Come along here and over the front, and I think this is, guys, I think we're ready to lace her up.
Yeah.
So come over and get your blue. I'm going to get a little fluidity. Get a little blue. Get a little blue. And first thing I do is I come straight across. And then I go cross, cross.
Ooh.
Cross, 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 cross.
Just kind of all the way down that way, huh?
Yep, all the way down.
Oh.
And that's from Vector Hidden or something. Because she's got one of those crazy crafty friends that can do that. I'm going to add a little blue right here. And I think I want to add a little blue to my glass.
Now,
and that makes me happy.
You explained that once. Why do you add those colors into other areas of your canvas?
Because especially in class, if you did the steampunk balls, we weren't painting the part that was see-through, we were painting all the reflections and shadows that glass picks up on. And I also think in painting, the more that you can integrate a color palette throughout the painting, the more enriched the piece will feel. Let's put out some gold paint.
Gold paint. You're gonna do that with the...
I'm gonna do a little bit where the gold is a little stronger around her.
Okay.
I'm putting on a small amount. I've got a small natural sponge. This will be exactly like what we covered in the other moist, you know, like we did before.
Yeah.
We don't want it soaking. You may need to squish it into a towel. Right. So that's what you're looking for. And then I'm gonna tap it in here. If you remotely could have metal allergies to paint of any kind, you're worried. I don't. So I'm not, right? I don't even have one to cadmium, so don't worry. But like if you're using real cadmiums or real things, go ahead and just...
Yeah, there's lots of, gloves are very inexpensive. You can get them almost anywhere.
Because think about it. I had a real moment with shampoo once.
Now you're just light. Did you say you're just dusting it?
I'm just dusting it. And I'm doing the same things we talked about in the previous one where we're not making patterns. We're trying to create elements but not create visual roadblocks. But I just felt like, you know, in the original piece, the gold process was a little stronger around her.
Mm-hmm. You wanted to pop that up.
But you couldn't really do that until she's laid in, could you?
So you know how to frame it?
Yeah, so you know how to frame it. And also kind of the nature of your sponge, because everybody's sponge has got a lot of different characters.
Now, using iridescent medium, will that make, say, yellow ochre turn gold?
That's a neat thing. I mean, don't give up on it. That does a neat thing.
Different effect, but...
Different effect. Different effect. And don't be sad about the effect.
It's actually, it's not that it's rotating down, it's sliding down. That's, and it, you know, it's bunking into the necklace occasionally.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's no big deal.
All right, are we doing good with our little sponges?
We are doing good with our little sponges.
I'm going to add a little more.
Oh, I'm going to slide down.
Notice I switched to my left hand.
Why?
That's another good tactic to prevent patterns.
Oh.
Switching from your dominant hand. So if you were left-handed, you would switch to your right hand. Switch from your dominant hand. Yeah. And then I can switch. That's another way of doing it. I just wanted to have the gold around her, make kind of a focal area. That's all. I didn't want to do it until I saw how she was in her space. Now this is right away.
Wash them.
The fun thing we get to do is we get to sign it.
Yay!
So I'm going to probably, I'm sure. I think I'm going to come here. Okay. I would be tempted actually to hit this with a highlighted gold, to be real honest, for the piece. Wear this for sale. Because your signature is part of the composition. If you're going to sign on the front, do think about how your signature impacts the work. It's not just your maker's mark and your ability to like say, hey, this is mine and I made this, but it's also part of the overall composition.
Ooh, so you're adding a little gold accent point to it there.
Why not, right?
I think that's pretty sharp.
So that it's more part of...
tying those colors in across the canvas.
Right, so it's part of the paintings. But it feels like it was considered at least a little bit in what I was doing.
Yeah. That turned out so nice.
Didn't that turn out really nice? Oh, one last thing that you could do.
What's that?
I always do this after I sign, isn't it? But I don't want you guys not to have it. A white highlight.
Oh.
On the lacing. Otherwise, it just pops too much. See?
Oh, yeah.
And those of you that are real purists could take a little bit of your gold if you wanted to. I'm sorry.
And this is what's awesome about your acrylics is that you can just go layer after layer, adding more little details.
See, that adds a little, doesn't it? Gold there just makes them feel like maybe they're grommets.
And I joke, but genuinely, these things just look better and better the more layers you put on them. More or less. I mean, you can't overdo it.
Layer up. It's always a good idea. Layer, layer, layer up. Oh, my guys have loved her. I hope you've customized hair on there that you love, put the skin tone on there that you love, put the body figure on there that you love, make it your own. Change up the backgrounds. I hope you love doing the backgrounds. If you thought this video was cool, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us that you love it and what you'd like to see. And we're going to see you all week because we got a lot of stuff going on. But in general, we see you like 3 times a week.
3 times a week for sure.
3 times a week, like the workout program I'm not doing.
And you can .com. You can find our shirts and mugs and do the subscription-y stuff. For the most part, definitely check out the calendar. What's coming up next, and share your paintings with us.
And for those of you that have been begging and begging and begging me for turn these girls around, start watching the channel around the 16th of March.
Oh yeah, that's right. Awesome new stuff coming up.
Awesome new stuff coming up. You're gonna love. And is it gonna be free?
Of course, it's gonna be free.
Is it gonna be for beginning artists?
Of course, it's gonna be for beginning artists. It's gonna be for you guys.
You have a beautiful day.
All right, guys. Love you.
Bye bye.